Go back live to Jeremy, who's in Tripoli, to get the latest on the conflict in Libya.
Very good morning from the Libyan capital, Tripoli. Just to throw back, actually a long way back to Scotland, and police there who are still investigating the Lockerbie bombing back in 1988, going to be talking to Foreign Office officials tomorrow morning, all about that Libyan defector, very high-profile defector, Moussa Koussa, who's the former foreign minister, and at one stage he was in charge of the intelligence agents, and he certainly worked as a spy at the time of the Lockerbie bombing in 1988 that killed 270 people. He is believed to have also played a role in securing the release of Abdul Basit al-Megrahi, of course the only man to ever been convicted of the Lockerbie bombing. Let's get a view now on what is happening here from Nabila Ramdani, who's a journalist and Middle East expert who joins me from London again. Nabila, very good morning to you. Looking at how things stand this Sunday morning with seemingly a military stalemate over in the east of the country with nobody really quite gaining the upper hand, the focus very much must now be on a negotiated, a diplomatic settlement, don't you think?
Very much so, and I think if you want to have an idea of what's going on in Libya and an idea about the chaotic situation in Libya, you just have to watch Sky reporter Simon Kiley's a brilliant report, I have to say, from outside Brega yesterday. He was at the center of an action which saw 14 rebels, including an ambulance crew, killed by mistake by coalition warplanes. And the report very much illustrates the confusion. When Sam arrived in New Brega the day after this unfortunate coalition attack on the rebels, pro-Gaddafi forces were firing from an unspecified location. Meanwhile, the rebels were literally squabbling over who should go into battle next. So his reports clearly illustrate the lack of leadership amongst the rebels, the very poor equipment as well. And I have to say, I am really pessimistic about the long-term chances of achieving military success.
And certainly you get the feeling that the coalition haven't intervened to end up on the losing side. So they've got to find some satisfactory conclusion to this. And yet talking, as we have done, to the Vatican's representative here who knows Gaddafi well, he says he will never leave the country. Somebody has to find a negotiated way of allowing him a soft landing, so to speak, a dignified way out.
Well, I have to agree with this view. I think having interviewed Gaddafi myself, he's not the kind of person who will consider leaving the country. I doubt it very much. But I also doubt his capacity now to achieve overall victory. He might have the upper hand militarily at the moment, but as we know, the situation is still very volatile. But politically, his regime is very weak, and which means that we are looking at a stalemate which could drag on for a long time to come. And it's extremely important at this stage to consider negotiation. I think the primary aim of the UN resolution was to protect civilian communities, and there has been a great deal of success in achieving that so far. And I think now we have to move on. We of course, Gaddafi, pro-Gaddafi representatives are in constant contact with the West and with Britain in particular. We know who he is, he knows who we are, and I think it's apt at this point to deal with the enemy in order to bring about peace and an end to violence and deaths.
Nabila, do you sense that Colonel Gaddafi has many friends left in the region who will still give him succor and support, or is he very isolated even in the African and Arab sphere?
Well, you know, when Colonel Gaddafi came to power in 1969, he's very much hoped to achieve a sort of Arab unity in the region. Well, he failed to do that, and that's why he turned to Africa. And currently, until recently, I have to say, he was very much considered as a bit of an embarrassment within the Arab world. But having said that, because the military intervention in Libya is increasingly unpopular in the Arab and indeed the Muslim world, I think he's gradually gaining sympathy. and people across the Muslim world want to see an end to violence, because however you look at it, from their perspective, it's very much yet another Western military intervention in a Muslim country.
Indeed, as one Arab ambassador here told us the other day, the Arab world is hardly full of democratic leaders. Nabila Ramdani, very good to talk to you again. Thanks for joining us on Sky News Sunrise. We'll have more on the diplomatic front and on the military front here in Libya during the course of the day, and there is plenty of explanation to fill in some of the gaps if we've not been able to provide a full picture. It's all there on the website as well, skynews.com. Do take a look at that. In the meantime, let's take you back to Mark in London.
Jeremy.